Okay, here we are. It's Friday afternoon, and it's time for another weekend video. I hope you're all well, and I hope you had a good week. Okay, let's just get straight onto it, into the madness. Well, the FX market seems to be performing reasonably, how would you say, logical, or reasonably, if not logical, maybe predictable. But everything else is gone absolutely haywire and wild. Okay, we'll get into that later. Here we are. This is the Eurodollar 4-hour chart, and I'm tracking this ABC pattern in wave 2, 3-wave correction, and I think we're still stuck within this B wave grind to the downside. So I'll get into this was an overall 1-2 pattern which should give way to a large sell-off in wave 3. Here we go. This is the hourly chart. Here's that 3-wave B wave, and this there's a couple of ways that you can view this. This could be a very large combination wave. So 3 waves in A, 3 waves in B, and then 3 waves down in C. That might explain this kind of more pronounced correction to the upside in a possible 4th wave. But this could also be wave A, B, and then we head lower in wave C again. At a minimum, I would like to see a break of that 107.25 level before we start looking at wave B complete and wave C turning higher again. But for the moment, early next week or even today, I mean, there's a full trading day ahead of us over in the States. So even today, we could push lower, break 107.25 and 107.25, and then reverse in a spike higher. But we'll see how that plays out. The action hasn't been too amenable to very large one-day moves, or even sizable one-day moves. Apart from maybe this bar here, back in 30th of April, but that's been the only kind of real, let's say, over 150 pip move in 1 hour or something like that. It's just been very dead. Maybe all kind of eyes are on the stock market or something. It's taken the air out of the room, really. So yeah, Eurodollar just will just grind sideways until people kind of realize it again. Okay, but for now, we don't have. I don't think wave B is over. I think we have another leg down, break 107.25, and then next week prepare for a rally in wave C. I don't really have. Well, there is one possible alternate that this is a 1-2 to the downside, but I don't favor that right now. I think this action in here is just too corrective to call it anything but a B wave, and then we will rally again in wave C. Okay, let's move to cable. Yeah, this 4th wave has kind of been bugging me. We've moved down off that level this week, which is it's where I wanted to go, but still this idea of a 4th wave is pushing the envelope of what's to be expected. But for now, as long as we're heading lower, I can kind of forgive the wave count for the moment. Okay, let's get into the hourly chart here. There's the top of that 4th wave, or it could be a B wave as well. And for now, I think we got a spike higher late yesterday evening. So I think we have a 1-2 pattern already. Well, wave 2 already underway, and this could be wave A of 2. We could be dropping now in wave B, and then a rally again in wave C. So a 1-2 pattern should lead the way lower next week. I will have to wait and see on that one. Previous 4th wave seems to be around that 124.80 level, so wave 2 would be kind of attracted to that level, and then we push lower into wave 3. So early next week we'll be looking at short-term bounce in wave 2, and then a longer-term decline in wave 3. Okay, dollar yen. We're milling through this right now. A little bit of a change on the pattern right now, but overall this larger degree pattern is pretty much the same. I'm still viewing this as wave E down, but the way that this C wave is unfolding has changed slightly. Okay, so if this is a large, you can see the triangle there, A, B, C, D, and we're completing wave E right now. I was about to sing that, so I was A, B, C, D. Okay, if we're completing wave E, then that should close out the triangle in wave B, and then we should head higher in wave C. All right. Get down to, let's pull this this E wave. Let's kind of pull this apart a bit in the hourly chart. So here's the hourly chart, and you can see wave E here, and it seems to be tracing out three waves. So three waves down in A, triangle in B. That's been the change, the main change this week, and then maybe an ending diagonal in wave C. So 1, 2, 3. A three wave move in wave 4 so far. We seem to be hitting some sort of resistance right now, or the rally, the spike higher early this morning has come to a halt so far. So we do have a three wave pattern in place. This might push a little bit higher up towards that trend channel again, and then we'd head lower again in wave 5. So the main reason why I switched to this ending diagonal here is because the low of wave 1 was breached by that spike higher there on Wednesday. So the ending diagonal seems to be the best fit type of pattern right now. Still call for one more low, break into the mid 105s before we head higher again to kind of break out of this corrective downside grind that we've been in for months now. But anyway, next week I'd like to see an end to this C wave, which should complete wave E and then head higher again to start out of this long-term, years-long triangle. One step at a time. Let's see if we can finish this C wave and the triangle wave E. Okay. Now, stock futures were slightly higher. Well, they did. They punched higher early this morning. They punched higher on the market was expecting 22 million job losses in April, but we only got 20 and a half. You know, so hey, that's awesome, isn't it? That's really a reason to buy stocks. For me, from my point of view, I think the market pushed higher to complete a C wave here. So it seems we have a 1-2 pattern in place. We'll see how this kind of shakes out in the morning. Once the early flutter of trading peters out, we'll see which way the market is actually going to go. Just because futures go higher does not mean the cash market would actually buy that. Although it has been so far, you know, we've all been dumb so far buying into this rally. I will point out horrendously horrible looking divergence there between price and between the rally in wave B and the momentum up to the highs in wave B. We peaked out in momentum, well, downside momentum or upside momentum peaked out right at the peak of wave A there. And ever since then, even though prices have rallied off that wave B low, momentum has just been crushed. And we're now more or less sitting on the zero line in MACD, and we are just bouncing around the 50 mark in RSI. So this slide here causes major concern. It should cause major concern to people who are momentum traders. And let's face it, basically the market is basically just one automated momentum trade right now, or for however long ETFs have been the main player in the market. They're just momentum buyers and they're momentum sellers, and hence the reason we got such a sharp and sustained decline. The ETFs had to sell, and hence the reason why we've had a sustained buy-in. ETFs had to buy. That's pretty much it. Once the rules are there in place, they will buy. But I think we are approaching a reckoning point here right now, if we are not at that right now at this very second as I record this. So it's the hourly chart. The cash market so far has not kind of followed through to the upside. We're kind of topping and tipping over, it seems. But we have 5 waves down, and it seems like in my amalgamated chart here we have 3 waves up. On the cash chart too, there is 3 waves up, pretty clear, into today's high. Anyway, last night we didn't have that new high, but today we've got it. Now here's the rub. If we decline from here and we break below, well, let's just call it wave 1. If we break below that 23,400 level again, I think we can call sayonara to the rally, and we should be looking for an extended decline in wave 3. Just because we've been hanging around here near the highs for basically a month now. We've just grinded sideways, created a head and shoulders pattern. It's funny to actually see that the market is pretty much range bound for the last month, no matter what anybody says. We've got a left shoulder, nice left shoulder in place, popped to a new high in the head, and it seems to be, to me, that we are creating the right shoulder again. Now we could, what will most likely happen was we will get a push below wave 1 in the initial move of wave 3, so a break of that. I'd like to see a break of 23,000, but we'll just have to see how that happens, how that plays out. A break of 23.4 anyway would be good, and then another further lower high. That'd be a lower degree 1 and 2 pattern to the downside. So it'd be kind of initial break of support, a new lower high, and then an acceleration lower in wave 3 of 1. Okay, but right now, looks like we're topping out the early trade, and we have 3 waves up in place, it seems. And I am looking lower for the day ahead, and the week ahead, and next week, and the month ahead. But okay, let's see how this trade plays out early next week, or this market plays out early next week. But I would like to see a move lower into wave 3 down solidly next week. Okay, let's get on to gold. Gold has actually been selling this morning slightly. Oh no, we've regained those drop again. So you can see that I am kind of torn between a couple of interpretations at the moment. We could have a wave 1, 2 complete, or we could still be tracing out wave 1, which is interesting. The pattern over the last, again, probably 3 weeks now, has been just contracting and sideways. So you could call this a triangle in an alternate wave 4, and I'll show you that on the hourly chart. So this could be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a couple of ways we could view this, but suffice to say, let's get down into. Suffice to say that I think there's still more upside in gold in the short term, and most likely in the long term as well. Okay, so here's the short-term pattern, wave 1 and 2 of 5, and I have turned bullish. So if we've got a 1, 2, 1, 2 pattern, this could be another lower degree 1 and 2 pattern actually right now within wave 3. And if that's the case, we should be off the races next week, which could correlate quite well actually with the stock market. If the fear trade comes back and people do dive into gold again, which I would expect, but you can never tell, can you? It could, like the last time back in March, we just hit this sell-all moment where everything was sold. It didn't matter what the hell it was. If it wasn't nailed down, people sold it. So let's hope gold is nailed down this time, and we can start rallying into a third of a third of a third. So you can see there's 3 degrees of third waves possibly beginning now. So this could get pretty rapidly interesting and move rapidly to the upside. We have a series or a couple of resistance levels at the moment. We have 1746, 1738, and 1721. I mean, we've just bounced off 1721. That's an internal B wave here within wave 2. For the moment, we haven't broken that. Hopefully, we'd break that today. Hopefully, even today, that we'd push right back above that wave 1 high. And that would really turn the tables in our favor. Now, there is actually, if you were to bear with me for 1 second, if you wanted to be even more bullish, you could move this down by 1 degree and just say that this is only wave 1 and 2 of 1 of 3. So, I mean, we could be further down the scale here in terms of the pattern right now, especially if we get a sharper move up, a more sustained move up over the next couple of weeks. Then that alternate account there might be quite interesting. Shapes. There's no way of actually telling right now if that's correct or not. So I'll just have to wait and see. So let's get this in here as an alternate account. So next week, I do want to see these higher lows continue. It's been pretty sustained at creating higher lows now over the last few weeks. So let's see those continue. I want to see a rally break out into a third wave and out to a new high pretty soon. Next week would be ideal. If today, I'll take it today as well. Okay, let's move on. Crude oil. I think we're pretty much done in crude oil now in a fourth wave. We're expecting this rally to trace out 3 waves to the upside. We've got 3 waves to the upside. We didn't quite meet that previous fourth wave high, that 3150 level that I was kind of suggesting that maybe we could push that high. Actually, in the end, I didn't actually think that we'd push this high, as high as we have. But the animal spirit took over for a few minutes or for a few hours this week, and we've got up to the high 26s, which is quite good, seeing as it was negative 40 a couple of weeks ago. That could be an all-time high rally or an all-time biggest rally ever, actually, in crude oil in the shortest period, if you want to call it that. Okay, possible fourth wave. Let's see if we're moving down into a fifth wave again, and that contract rollover is looking pretty hairy if this count is correct again. Okay, so I'm working on the idea that wave 4 in red here is complete. Oh, sorry, I have it wave 4 in green here. I should change that. Let's put that back to red so we can see eye to eye. So wave 4 in red. So I have wave 4 in red complete, and looking for another impulse wave to the downside in wave 1 and 2 of this could be 1 degree higher. Most likely it is 1 degree higher, but an impulse wave to the downside anyway is what I'm looking for. I'm not quite sure if this wave 2 is complete yet. We do have 3 waves up into yesterday's high, but the decline overnight there doesn't seem to be in any way impulsive to the downside. So we could be looking at a slightly larger 3-wave correction here before wave 3 comes in. So wave 3, I would like to see break that wave 1 low again. So we could call that 2390. So break below that 24 handle again in wave 3. So it looks like, if I'll just push this, I'll just put this pattern together. It looks like we could be turning down into wave 1 down now. And if that's the case, then crude will collapse along with the stock market again. Turn lower. They seem to be more synchronized right now. The short term turn lower on both, and a short term lower high on both, hopefully, by today. If we complete wave 2 today, we might get a spike lower to begin wave 3 by the end of the session. It's still, a few hours ahead of its open state, so we'll see how that plays out. Okay, but for next week anyway, I do want to see a continuation lower, 5 waves down to turn the emphasis to the downside again in wave 5 in red. And like I said, this could be wave 1 at 1 degree higher also. So we'll just keep that in mind. That'd be wave 1 and 2. Okay, that's crude oil. Topping out, looking for a larger bear signal to begin wave 5. Okay, S&P. Yeah, we did kind of, we pushed higher. We were higher last night. We did actually make a new high, a new lower high, let's call it, last night. But today, right now, as the market has just opened, we seem to have flatlined. So I'm expecting this 3 waves up to complete and turn lower again. So this should be a 1-2 pattern down into wave 1 of B. So this could be, or sorry, wave 1 of C. We'd expect a larger wave 1 and 2 over the next week, maybe 2 weeks, and then pretty much capitulation again in wave 3. So I would expect wave C down to trace out 5 waves. We may have the initial bearish signal complete in wave 1 of C. So let's get down into the hourly chart here. Yeah, we've held so far. High has held at 29.5486 was the high, so we're 29.10 right now. We spiked higher off the open because the futures were higher, but we seem to be selling down that in the cash right now. So I would like to see a push below that B wave low by the end of the session. That would be great if we did. That's might be a bit of an ask right now, but for the moment, I'm looking at a completed 1-2 pattern with the expectation that we should be moving down into a third wave for the longer, medium term anyway, for the next couple of weeks. And this will be wave 3 of 1 of, or sorry, wave 3 of 1. Same as the Dow. In general, I like the fact that we sold off nicely into the weekly low here in wave 1, and I like the fact so far that we have 3 waves in place. I need to see some confirming price action off that wave 2 high to indicate wave 1 of 3 has begun, or wave 1 of 3 in green there. Next week, looking lower, just like the Dow, just like crude oil. Need some confirmation of that though. So a push below 2,800 again would be a big like hat tip in favor of the downside again. All right, silver. Let's get into the old silver market. The idea for wave 2, it's still in play. I just can't shake it. I mean, we did break to a slight new high today, but in general, wave 1 and 2 wave 2 doesn't seem complete just yet. There is an alter account that would view wave 3 maybe beginning, but a wave 5 of 1 maybe beginning, but I'm still concentrating on this larger wave 2 for the moment. I'll just get into the hourly chart because it's hard to pull that apart right there on the 4-hour chart. You can see here I've switched it slightly today, but we've got a spike lower off an interim high, so a lower high in a possible B wave. This looks like a 3 waves down in A, 3 waves up in B maybe. I would have to see a continuation lower and a break of 1460, 1459 there. Well, actually, I should bring that lower again. 1449 at the wave A low. So next week, there is this a chance that we have another spike high in wave 1 before we sell off into wave 2, but I still think that I'm going to stick with the kind of let's say more conservative wave count here. Wait for one more drop in wave C. There should be 5 waves down. Maybe form some sort of high, or sorry, some sort of low or higher low above $14. Maybe around that trend channel there. What would that give us? Yeah, 14.20 or so before we turn into a rally in wave 3. But for the moment, I am short-term pain, long-term gain, maybe you would call it. Wave C down to complete, and wave 1 of 3 towards the end of next week, hopefully. And that does it. So I'll just give one more check to the stock market again. Yeah, well, we're just kind of flatlined right now at 29.10. Nothing really to add to that. I would like to see a continuation lower pretty immediately as people digest how stupidly bad things look right now. Okay, let's see how today's trade goes. We'll review it again tonight on the website. And for those of you who want to see that, get over to bullwhiz.org and check out the membership offer. Okay, I have been Enda, and you have been you, and have a great weekend. God bless. Be good. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys on the website on Monday again. Bye-bye, everyone. See you soon.